Hey, how are you doing? I'm Vasco Duarte, your host on the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, and I've got some exciting news. So, right now, as I record this, I'm holding in my hand the signed contract for our very first Global Agile Summit. We're all in, and I couldn't wait to share this news with you. So mark your calendars, May 18th to 20th of 2025 in Tallinn, Estonia. We're going to have a transformative experience. We're putting together an event that it's all about real-life Agile. It's not theory or buzzwords. It's practitioners sharing what's working, what's making an impact, and how they've overcome challenges that you too will have to face, or maybe even facing right now. We're bringing together the best stories in Agile, from product leaders to engineering wizards to business visionaries. These will be stories that will inspire you to action. This isn't just another conference. It's a chance to connect with the people that are shaping the future of Agile. And here's the best part. Right now, we're in our super early bird phase. And that means you can grab tickets at just 25% of the final price. Look, that's not just half off. It's half off of the half off. It's an incredible deal for our dedicated community members, just like you, listening to this right now. So at the summit, day one will be all about hands-on workshops. And days 2 and 3 will dive into leadership, product strategy, coding, testing, and everything that makes Agile thrive in organizations right now. Remember, these are all first-person, real-life stories. Now, whether you're a leader, a developer, or part of a consulting company, this event is built to take your Agile game to the next level. So don't wait. Go to globalagilesummit.com and grab your ticket today. Let's all make 2025 the year Agile truly transforms your teams, your business, and our industry. I'll see you all in Tallinn. And remember, go to globalagilesummit.com and get your super early bird ticket right now. It will only be available until the agenda is announced. So don't wait. Grab it right now. Right, now that that's out of the way, on to the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to the first of my 5 Wishes for 2025 series. I'm Vasco, and today we're tackling something that keeps me up at night. And no, it's not just the Finnish winter darkness. You know what's funny? We keep trying to manage software projects like if we're building a house. And I mean, I hear that metaphor all the time. Somebody will say, well, you can't build the roof before you build the foundations. Well, it just so happens that in software, you can do this. They will say something like, just give me the requirements up front. Just tell me exactly what you want. Well, if that were possible, we'd already figured out how to do it. And that approach, knowing exactly what you want up front, didn't really work out so well for Nokia when Apple came along with the iPhone. And sorry, folks, I'm still bitter about that. I worked at Nokia at the time, and I saw what project management perspective did to that company. Now, moving on, let me tell you a quick story. I was working with this company. Let's keep them nameless to protect the innocent. And they were so proud of their project management approach. I mean, they were probably one of the largest funders of the PMI, Project Management Institute, in the Nordic countries. And they said, we have everything planned out. Well, 18 months later, that's 18 months later for a 6-month project, that is, they were, of course, not ready to release, and the market had moved on significantly. They ended up canning this 18-month effort with over 500 people involved. What a massive waste. And no amount of project management super skills would have helped. And you know why? Because project management is about executing a plan. It's not about having business impact or making customers happy or always being ready to release, which is what I advocate for in the no estimates approach. More on that in a later episode. So here's the real deal. Software is not like building a house. It's perhaps, if we go with a metaphor, a little bit more like growing a garden. You just can't plant everything at once and then come back 6 months later expecting the garden to be perfect. A garden needs constant care, continuous attention, and yes, continuous delivery. That's what gardens are, continuously delivering. So let me break this down into 3 key differences between what I call flow-based software development and project-driven software development. The first one is that projects assume stability, but software and business in general are much more like trying to hit a target that keeps on moving and changing shape while you are also in movement. Well, good luck with that. The second is that projects front-load decisions. Have you tried planning your entire year's meals in January? How did it work out? Let me know in the comments. Maybe it worked out for you and you might be a super genius project manager. So let me know in the comments. Let's discuss that further. And then third, projects create artificial boundaries. Sorry, that bug isn't in the scope. That's something I've heard many times. Or a customer comes up with a request and that can't be tackled because it's not in the scope. Or worse, it can be tackled and now the whole project is derailing because you've changed the plan. Don't forget that projects start with the plan, a list of requirements. So how do we fix this mess? Well, I've got a simple 3-step framework that I want to propose. This is simpler than assembling IKEA furniture. And trust me, as someone living in the Nordics, I know my IKEA. All right, so first step is accept that software is more like a shark. Bear with me, this metaphor is going somewhere. What I mean by this is that it needs to keep moving or it dies. So I'm working with this mobile startup right now, and they're releasing updates faster than I can drink coffee. And that's saying something. They design every change around an assumption of value. This is very important, right? It's not a list of features. It's every change, whatever the change is, whether it's a simple color change or text change. We, for example, saw a 3 times increase in conversion by just changing a text. These things can happen. So every change is done around an assumption of value, and they measure everything they do. More on that in a later episode. I'm going to talk about measuring everything we do. They measure everything they do, making sure that each change has a goal and is measured against that goal. But also, they constantly adapt the plans of what's next based on the feedback they get from these experiments. In other words, they flow experiments to the market and adjust based on impact. Continuously is this super fast feedback loop that they've implemented because, of course, what they're trying to do is to maximize the business impact. The second step of this 3-step framework is that we need to fund software like we fund businesses, not like we fund construction projects. You should check out my episode with Marit Lanti and Rami Sirkia, where they talk about lean and agile financial planning. They explain it better than I can, but the idea is that they talk about incremental funding and a completely different way to manage software development capacity. The link is in the show notes. It's a half-an-hour episode. There's a lot of details that we go through there, but that's the core idea is we fund software incrementally and we manage capacity in software differently than we would do with project management, right? Project management would do upfront capacity planning and, even quite far into the future if you've looked at some of those Gantt charts. While when we fund software incrementally, step by step, we don't do that anymore. So check that out. The episode link is in the show notes. Right. And the third of this 3-step framework is that teams need goals, not just endless backlogs. Teams need to be focused on what value needs to be delivered, not on the backlog. A backlog is a tool. It helps us prioritize and focus on our short-term work, but we need teams to know what to focus on and make decisions on that continuously. And this means that we need to build teams around end-to-end ownership of the value that they produced, whether it's a 5-person team or a team of teams. They always need to start from the goal. And I wrote about this in a blog post I published called OTOG, or One Team, One Goal Principle. Check out the link in the show notes. Make sure to read that as it explains in more detail what the goal is, what is the idea of having one team, one goal, and why that's important. When we've completed this 3-step framework, that is, accept that software is in constant flux. We need to flow value to the market. Second, we need to fund software incrementally, right? And we need to stop when it's not working or fund it more when it is working. And then third, that every team needs a goal. When we achieve these 3 steps, we get to continuous delivery, incremental funding, and teams working from goals. When we are there, we can then move to this flow-driven approach to software development that I advocate and wish for in 2025. And we get a very important benefit at the business level. And here's the key. When we get this continuous delivery, incremental funding, and teams working from goals, we are now able to make quick decisions at the product portfolio level instead of making long, expensive commitments to projects which we don't know if they can add any value to the business. So the key impact of this flow-based software development is that we can now raise the agility to the top level, the portfolio level at the organization. And that's a huge win. That's one of the core ideas of Agile. Agile started in the software side. Some would even say on the IT side, depending on the industry. But it needs to go beyond that. We need to bring that agility to the whole business. So that's my wish, number 1 of 5 for 2025. If you want to see this in action, we have some real-life stories we'll be featuring at the Global Agile Summit 2025 in Tallinn, Estonia. And these stories will show what's already possible today. Real-life first-person stories of real organizations that are doing this flow-based software delivery already today. It's not an illusion. It's not a utopia. It is happening today, and we'll be featuring those stories at the Global Agile Summit 2025. So make sure you check it out. It's at globalagilesummit.com. If you're listening to this in Christmas 2024 or around that, we have a gift for you. Our super early bird ticket is now available. It gives you a 75% discount. That's not a 50%. That's 75%. That's half off of the half off from the final price of the summit ticket. So don't miss it. Check out the super early bird and the introduction video at globalagilesummit.com. And I'll see you all in Tallinn. So this was the first wish of the 5 for 2025. So Merry Christmas, and talk to you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.